Hello everybody and welcome to a new video on the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Leicester UKTC Super Major, which is going to be taking place this weekend. There's going to be around 275 people in attendance, and it's going to be the first major in the UK, at least that I know of, that is going to be using the Ultramarines releases. So there's going to be lots of Victrix Honor Guard on show. We're going to see how that has affected the players who are attending, how that has specifically affected the Death Guard lists that are going to be taken and the detachments that are being taken there. And then we're going to have a look at some of those lists. So thanks everybody for supporting the channel. Really do appreciate it and every the feedback that I get from the community. If you are new, please do subscribe. And everybody else, if you could please do a comment and a like. And let me know if you do enjoy these sort of event previews, and I will try and do a review at the end to see how the Death Guard lists ended up performing at the weekend. But we'll jump straight into the meta representation, and then I'd say a more Death Guard specific focus. Thanks, everybody. So, in attendance, we have 27 Space Marines. I'm pretty sure that it's around 16 or 17 that all have the Victrix Honor Guard, and that's most of those are running 3x6, which is no surprise. They are severely undercosted, it seems, and yeah, you tend to get it when there's a broken sort of unit here. It gets ran a lot, especially the super majors. No hobby lag for the people playing these. Eldari have 22 attendance. That is, again, no real surprise as Eldari are in a very strong spot at this moment in time. We have 18 World Eaters, which is a little surprising. I know that World Eaters are in a good sort of position, but I feel like Space Marines and Eldari just kind of crush World Eaters at the moment, especially considering as well Death Guard with 15 representation. They also have a quite favourable matchup into World Eaters, depending on the build, but a lot of times I feel Death Guard have a strong matchup there. We have 14 Emperor's Children, which is good to see them out and about. Uh, Interesting to see how they fit into the meta at the moment. Obviously, they're very quick and they hit very hard, but they are sort of paper. They do die very quickly, so if I think they got a bad matchup against Eldari, so it'd be interesting to see how the Emperor's Children do there. Coming down, we've got Space Wolves, Tau, Blood Angels, Custodes, Dark Angels, and Drakari with a decent representation. And then we're starting to come down into the rest of the factions. At the bottom of the meta, we've got Imperial Agents running with one crazy person. Good luck to them. And then we've got Gene Stealer Cults, which seem to be really struggling at the moment. They obviously took some nerfs in the previous data slate, so they are struggling there. But good to see that there's at least two of them. Death Watch, I think they got a new kill team, or it's on the way. But they always seem to do well at things like LVO, but maybe they just don't quite set out for the UKTC boards. So interesting to see how that happens. And then Thousand Suns also only having two attendees there. Maybe the rule which got changed to once you fail um, a psychic ability, I forgot the name of them, you can retry, because that kind of really put a dampener on their ability to plan. That's the overall meta for the event. So we'll jump straight into the Death Guard. So Death Guard, as mentioned before, we have 15 in attendance. 10 of those are Virulent Vectorum. We have 2 Champions of Contagion, 2 Tallyband Summoners, and we do have a Shamble Rot this time. It's not often we see Shamble Rot at the events. Not many people have the back strength and the knee strength to be able to move that many models around a table. So it's good to see the Shamble Rot popping up. Unfortunately, there's no Mortarian's Hammer, no Death Lord's Chosen, and no Flyborn Host at this event. As a common trend, we tend to see Virulent Vectorum is out and out the sort of most popular Death Guard detachment. The sticky objective is obviously incredibly strong. It's got a good suite of stratagems, and it's a more familiar play pattern for the majority of the player base at this point. Happy to see that there's 2 Champions of Contagion list there, and Tallyband has been doing really well recently. Obviously, had a good performance at the World Championships of Warhammer, and then recently Aiden went to a local GT and managed to take that down with it. So I think there's a bit more popularity with Taliban at the moment. It's got a different tool set, and it can really um, overwhelm an opponent quite quickly. There's a lot of stuff that in reserves, and then you just go, cool, I'll make these 6-inch charges, which can be quite devastating to the opponent. So we'll have a look at the Taliban and the champions list and the Shamble list. Most of the Virulent Vectorum lists are sort of cookie cutter, as we've expected, with the Demon Prince and the Plague Marines, the Lord of Contagions, and everything like that. But there is definitely a sort of noticeable change. Nathan Roberts is taking his list, which we'll take a look at first, and it has been something that I've noticed being run recently, which is the 10-man Blight Lord brick. So we'll move into that next. So here we have Nathan's list. Obviously, I think Nathan's very well known in the Warhammer community. He's was top spot for Death Guard in the UK last year in the UKTC and the ITC, I believe. And he obviously he's a very skilled player. So look, Virulent Vectorum, it starts off sort of normal. We've got the Demon Prince of Nurgle with a Revolting Regeneration. That's the Mini Morty sort of build that we see commonly. A Lord of Contagion without an enhancement, and a Lord of Virulence. I think the reason why we've got the Lord of Virulence here instead of the double Lord of Contagion is because of the Blight Lord brick. So obviously the Lord of Virulence gives you the reroll wounds, and you've got a lot of the guns here with for the Lord of Virulence to make use out of. So you've got in the Blight Lord brick here, you've got 2 spewers, 2 Reaper autocannons, 2 blight launchers. The rest are combi bolters. This is the best way to run the 10-man or even a 5-man, just half the number of guns. The flails just aren't worth it in the blight lords at the moment. It's just not an improvement on anything that you've got. The combi bolters should be shooting 4 shots each, and with their ability, which is +1 AP, +1 strength, against a unit that is in contagion, and most of the time you're probably taking -1 save as well. Those combi bolters become AP2. The spewers become AP3, same as the autocannon, and the same as the blight launcher as well. So this unit becomes really quite a threat, especially if you're also pointing at the target with the Lord of Virulence for the reroll ones, because then most of these guns are hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s. You can, if you really need to, or you want to try and fish for lethal hits or something like that, use the reroll strat for them, but it kind of seems a bit wasted on the Blight Lords considering they've already got the wound rerolls. But it's something you can do. But the shooting from this unit is quite effective into a lot of targets. It's going to be wanting to be shooting things like infantry, and if it can with the plague spewers, but the auto cannons can shoot up, and the blight launchers, they become strength 7 against the target that you want to shoot against. So it's a really effective unit with shooting. Its melee is not particularly great, but it will chunk into things if it needs to. The problem being it's just a big brick. So I think the skill with this unit is being able to utilize it correctly on the board, because it is slow, and there's no assault or anything like that that you can give it. So it's just a case of you need to be able to get this unit to activate multiple times, and if the opponent can dodge it, then it's probably 370 points that's useless, and it's going to just be sitting on a point in the middle. But if you can get use out of this unit, it is very powerful, especially if you are controlling multiple zones with this, because it can spread out. And the best thing about it being in the Virulent Vectorum, if there's any damage 3 shooting, you just -1 damage, and it becomes so much harder to chew this through this unit. So um, as I mentioned, this is common in a few of the lists. I will look at a couple more of the lists afterwards, but I know I watched a video. I think it was the 6++, Thursday Fight Night, and it was Nas playing a very similar list, I believe, against Innes's. Can't remember what Innes was playing, but yeah, Nas played this and used the Blight Lord to essentially drop down the middle, shoot down the lanes as much as he can, and control as many points as he can with it. So it's interesting to see how Nathan will do with this. He usually was running sort of the Demon Engine spam. So this is, I mean, we still have quite a few Demon Engines here, as we can see. We've got the 2 Blight Haulers for the anti-tank. We've got the heavy Blight Launchers, which should be working a whole lot better because of the Lord of Virulence. Remember the reroll blasts number of shots, reroll hits with blast weapons. So all those 3 are going to be doing that. We have 2 spitters. I imagine this is to be killing the elves that are around. I always prefer the spitters on these type of drones because the fallback and the shoot, the range is just really good, and then it's a really good Overwatch threat. If a elf player wants to move, they're probably going to not risk the Overwatch on there, and obviously they can only use the no Overwatch maneuver token on one unit in the movement phase and then one in the charge phase. So having multiple Overwatch threats here, and of course the Death Shroud is a really good Overwatch threat as well, and the Blight Lords as well. So there's multiple Overwatch threats in here for the elves to sort of have to second guess what they're doing with their turn. Spawn, again, great. They're going to be contagion spreaders, and with a +3-inch strat for the contagion, they're probably going to be the contagion spreaders to get this Death Shroud unit to be able to drop down where he wants, and while he's trundling up the board with the Blight Lords. I would suspect, I don't, depending on the matchup, I don't think the Blight Lords will start in the deep strike. It obviously depends if he's going to get flooded with the board, he's going to keep them on the board. If it's an elite army that he knows he's going to be able to drop somewhere safe, then probably will. But it's an interesting turn of events. See how it goes. Obviously, this shooting is a lot of shots, and you can pump up the AP, as I said, so you can get things to AP3. So with the Victrix being a 2-up save, they get cover, so that's 4 ups. They can AOC, but if you're splitting fire or whatever you're doing with this unit, it's still going to be enough to potentially cause them some harm. So yeah, it's an interesting tech piece. We'll see how it ends up performing because there are multiple lists, which we'll just take a quick look at now and see how it performs at the end of the event. List here we've got is Harry Tite. I believe this is Jack Tite's brother. But it's a similar sort of list. Again, we've got the Blight Lord Brick, got the 2 Spawn, we've got the Death Shroud, we've got the heavy Blight launchers. We don't have the floated, the regular drones with the spitters, and we've traded out the Demon Prince of Nurgle for Mortarion. So obviously a lot more points for Morty, but you do have your reactive move here with Morty, which can be really powerful with the Blight Lords, or indeed the shoot back ability. So if something does end up shooting these, you could potentially go, oh, I'm going to do the -1 damage, and then Morty's ability is going to shoot you back with everything that you don't kill. So it can be quite a powerful combination here. We don't have the Demon Prince, so we don't have the CP reduction on the strat. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But yeah, another list here that's focused sort of around this 10-man Blight Lord brick. And the final VV list I wanted to highlight is Alex Nicolic. He is basically the same sort of premise. Got a Demon Prince of Nurgle, a lot of Contagion, a lot of Virulence, given all the goodness with the rerolls. But the key standout we have here is the Predator Destructor. And the Predator Destructor rule says that if you hit something with a target, you get to pick it, and you get the rest of the army for the rest of the phase gets +1 AP. So these all of these guns, if it's shooting the Victrix and they're in the open, can get pushed to AP4 because of the -1 save, the AP from the Predator Destructor, the AP increase from the Blight Lords rule, and then the inherent AP from the Spewers, the autocannon, and the Blight Launcher, and obviously the Flamer from the Lord of Violence as well. Combi bolters aren't chosen here. These have gone with combi weapons for the bit of the mortal damage, which is obviously great with the rerolls anyway. And if you are doing the strat for the rerolls, the combi weapons I think do come out better. The problem with them is obviously hitting because you hit on 4s instead. But if you are using the strat, they become a bit more beneficial, especially into the good armor save units. So it's an interesting little take there. But so we've got 3 different lists that are taking a 10-man brick of Blight Lords, and I think that is an answer, or one potential answer, to the problem of the Victrix Honor Guard. One final list to highlight on VV is William Reed, who you'll know probably from the Discussing Resilient podcast. Is War Dog Will. And surprise, surprise, we have 2 War Dog Carnivores in here. But Will has gone for a MSU style VV list. There's no Demon Prince in here. and we've got 3 playcasters. So this is the tech piece that you sort of take when you're making the plague bus. So it's 2 playcasters who'll go inside the Rhino, and then you can bring on the Rhino, move it, and you use the 2 guns from the playcasters on top of the Rhino, and it does crazy amounts of damage. It also it's great against things that can blood surge you, because if they blood surge into the Rhino, you can still shoot it because you're in combat and it's an automatic hitting weapon. So it's a really useful way to potentially get around the Victrix if you move the Rhino as the closest thing towards the Victrix and then shoot them with something, they blood surge into the Rhino. The Playcaster's damage is going to still go through on them. And it's AP 2 when you overcharge, 3 if you've got the contagion up, and potentially more if you had things like the predator destructors, which we don't have in this list. But yeah, so we've got an MSU list, as we say. We've got 4 units of 5 plague marines. I think they're all kitted out the same way. So plasma and power fist on the champ, plasma gun, heavy plague weapon, blight launcher, and spear, and that's the same for all 5 units. So 2 of those will sit happily in the Rhino with the Playcasters, and then 2 will go in the other Rhino. I imagine these are sort of primary denial and not throwaway units, but is trading units, which should be able to cause a bit of havoc. Got the one Lord of Contagion, no enhancement on him, and then the Tallyband to just sit in the backfield and get him some CP. We've got 1 unit of Death Shroud, which you would expect to go with the Lord of Contagion. We've got 3 Poxwalkers and 2 Spawn. It's a good amount of sort of early trading pieces and things that allow him to spread contagions, which is great. 1 Poxwalker is probably just going to help screen home with his Tallyman. And then, yeah, they got the 3 blight launchers and say that the 2 carnivores. I mean, personally, I'm not a big fan of the war dogs anyway, but obviously that's something that Will likes to play. I would probably have preferred to see this as a second unit of Death Shroud with a Lord of Virulence, just to give him the obviously the reroll wounds on the Death Shroud unit. That can be quite good against the Victrix, because you get basically getting 75% of whatever the 4d6 you roll plus the d6 from the Lord of Virulence. So it can just be like a little bump up, and you probably kill 1, maybe 2 if you're very lucky on average, of the Victrix, because they are the 4 wounds. So I don't think the Carnivores are going to do much in that matchup, but obviously he's not got any big hitters other than the Lord of Contagion, Death Shroud sort of unit on the charge. So they're probably there to show up the tough matchups. If it goes against Knights, these are obviously fantastic into there. So yeah, a slightly different VV. The rest of the ones from everybody are fairly similar. I think I saw 1 guy who's taken a Defiler. The Defiler strips cover. So it's sort of effectively +1 AP in certain instances, especially if you're wanting to upload the damage onto the Victrix or whatever it is. The Defiler hits something and then strips cover, so it can work quite nicely. But yeah, the rest of them are all sort of similar play styles of the Virulent Vectorum that we used to: Demon Princes, Lord of Contagions, blight launcher drones and things like that. So we'll move on to the other detachments. So here we've got George with his Champions of Contagion list, and he's taken a Demon Prince of Nurgle. We've got the Lord of Contagion and the Lord of Virulence. No enhancements on any of these characters, and we've got types as well. So we've got 3 Terminator characters, and then a Taliban, assumingly just going to sit at home and get CP. We've got the 5-man Blight Lords, combi weapon, spear, autocannon, and a blight launcher. So yeah, reasonable. I imagine the Lord of Virulence tends to go with them, but you could potentially have the -1 to hit with the Typhus. I assume there's going to be some Death Shroud. Yeah, so we've got 3 Terminator units for all 3 characters to go into. You can chop and change whichever character you want to go into to best suit the matchup, so that's fine. 2 units of Spawn for early spreading, perfect. 1 Flash Mower drone. Again, that's really good to dissuade sort of like the early aggression. And then we got the 3 heavy blight launcher units, which I was going to benefit quite a lot from the Lord of Virulence ability, and 1 blight hauler, which is great just as a multi-melter threat. Say, hey, if you come close, I'm going to almost try and force through this hits on 2s, wounds on 3s, 4s, 5, depending on what it is. And then 3 units Poxwalkers. So a reasonably standard Champions of Contagion list. Demon Prince of Nurgle, I'm not a huge fan of in the Champions of Contagion. It dies too easily for me without the feeling of pain from VV. But the free strat usage is always really useful in this detachment because you want the hit and wound rerolls and being able to trigger it with things like Grenade from the Lord of Contagion or Typhus's ability. Yeah, pretty good from George. I hope he does well. Next up, we have Jack, and he is gone. So, whereas previously George didn't have any Plague Marines, we've now gone for 3 units, 2 5s and a 10. For those, we've got the Biologist, Putrefier, and Malignant Plaguecaster combos. I assume the final ingredient probably goes with the Plaguecaster on the 10-man. I'm not sure whether the 5-mans have a character each or whatever it will be. He's probably going to want to be able to activate fights first on as many units as he can. So in certain matchups, double attaching the maybe even the Tallyband and the Plaguecaster or something like that would be useful here. 5-mans are 1 melter gun, 1 plasma gun, so there's a bit of variety in there what you can do. 10-man's got 2 plasmas, and then the rest of it's kitted out fairly normally. So yeah, he's got a really good shooting base there with those Plague Marines, and then we're backing it up. We've got 2 Lord of Contagions and a Taliban. So we've got 2 units of Death Shroud as we expect, some heavy blight launcher drones, some mythic blight haulers, and some Potswalkers. So yeah, he's got a big Plague Marine unit and then 2 sort of support Plague Marine units he can potentially tempt out by trading. There's no spawn in here, so you're sort of reliant on your Plague Marines or maybe your Potswalkers to be your trading pieces, because there's also no fall back and shoot drones. So engagement might be tricky to get on his terms, but once he does commit, he's going to have a lot of things that can hurt his opponent. So good luck, Jack. So this is the Shamble Rot detachment, Death Guard Shambles. I copy Dave 2.0. Not sure who Dave is, but good luck to you. Yeah. We've not got any enhancements on any of the characters here, and we are running only 2 sets of Potswalkers. So I think this is just the idea of this is just to run lots of stuff, and then use the detachment rule of benefiting from the Potswalkers on I think it's turn 2, 3, and 4 to get the additional sort of strat reserves coming through, and you can deep strike the Potswalkers for a CP. So it's just taking good stuff. We've got the File Blight Spawn to stop the advances, and also the once per game fights first, and the Plaguecasters. That's going with the 5-man Plague Marines here. And then we've got 2 Lord of Contagions, which are going to drop into. There's a big unit of Death Shroud, and then a small one, and then a one that'll have to go on their own. And then I know Typhus can go into one of them as well, so they can all be attached. Got 3 spawn for early aggression and supporting the Potswalkers if they're going to be infiltrating, and then some blight haulers. So yeah, interesting to see. I've seen people talking about this in the community where you essentially take the detachment specifically for the additional strat reserves, and you can use them late in the game to come on and cause sort of corruption and ROC things late on, because they're not going to want to turn around and shoot the 10 Potswalkers if they've still got Death Shroud up in the face. So yeah, interesting to see how this Shamble goes. Good luck going. Onto the Taliban list, we've got Jonno here. He's got a Great and Clean one, a Lord of Contagion with the Fel Harvester, which is +2 attacks, I think it is. Playcaster with the Beckoning Blight, which allows things to the deep strike chain to start. We've got Rotigus, so we've got two of the big boys here, and then Taliban. Got a 5-man of Plague Marines, 10-man of Plague Bearers, 2 spawn, a big unit of Death Shroud. So there's lots of 6-inch deep striking going to happen. 2 flash mower drones, which are great for early skirmishing. The Nurglings, the 6-man and a 3-man, just as a nice little utility piece. Some plague drones, which, if I can remember correctly, the plague drones give you reroll wounds on a target that is shot, but I think it's only for the Plague Legion stuff. So it's probably just a fast skirmishing unit, I would imagine, because I don't think that's going to be too useful. Obviously, got flamers and things for the attacks from the Grey and Clean one and Rotigus, but and then we've got 2 unit Potswalkers. So yeah, I think there's going to be a case of push out, drop down with things with Beckoning Blight and within the Grey and Clean one, hold primary and see how much you can kill and how slowly you can be killed. And finally, we've got Liam here with his Taliban list. We'd have a Great and Clean one as well, and a Lord of Contagion with the Fel Harvester, another one, 2 Plaguecaster, so potentially they're doing Plague Plus, not just Blightbringer with Beckoning Blight, which is something I do see quite often, and then Rotigus. So yeah, a similar makeup. We've got the addition of the additional Lord of Contagion and Plaguecaster, We've got 2 units of Plague Bearers, so no Plague Marines. So these are running solo. So I imagine there is a Rhino down here for the yeah. So the Plague Bus goes in there. We've got 2 3-mans of the Death Shroud for the Lord of Contagions to go in, with the Heavy Blight Launchers and the Potswalkers to shore up the Infiltrate. And yeah, I can see this being a tricky thing to come through. It's going to drop and it's going to have a hard go turn. So see how Liam can perform. And that is it for the Leicester wrap up. We've had a look at the Death Guard lists and we'll see how they perform over the weekend. Good luck to everyone going. And yeah, so I'll hopefully try and get a review video up to see how the top performing lists did at this event. Should be a good one. Don't forget to watch the UKTC streams. Hopefully we get to see some Death Guard on there. And that's pretty much it. Thanks everybody again for supporting the channel, and do like, comment, subscribe, do all the good things to try and get it in front of more eyes. And as mentioned, I had some computer issues previously and just been really busy with personal life and work and everything like that, so I've been really struggling to find any time to actually put aside for the bat reps from the Coventry. I will try and get some sort of content out there for it. I do have videos from most of the games, but it has been pretty much a month or so now since then. So it's probably, I'm not sure how good a quality those bat reps would be. So apologies for that. I will see if I can get at least some of the key games sorted from that event, because I did have some really enjoyable games from that event. So it'd be nice to get some sort of things up for you guys. But yeah, I will see you on the next one. Have a good weekend. I'll see you soon.